And this show tonight is in split. So we're waiting for Brother Bilal, who came on the radio yesterday. When he comes on, we can patch him through to the air. And during that time, we can take questions purely by text. We wouldn't be able to take any telephone messages. In the meantime, if somebody wants to call our studio, the telephone number is 0161 678 8795. 0161 678 8795. So that's the telephone number to ring. And if you would like to listen to any Naat, well, listen to the show for that one. So you can call somebody else. I think Brother Azan Naveed does a nice little number in terms of Naat, and a message from the Colonel, when shall I come? You can come anytime, brother. The door is never locked. Just make sure that you don't bring that 200 kg of dumbbells with you, because you won't get through the door with them either. But if you are going to come, try not to offend Brother Manny, because he's getting excited. Again, a very successful season for Liverpool, which I'm sure we're going to ask Shaykh Haroon about.
He's trying to phone you, no answer.
He's trying to ring in?
Yeah.
Right, wait till he comes. We are getting Brother Bilal on the phone, and he's saying that there's no answer, so I shall just check our telephone lines. Yeah, the line does appear to be working. So if the brother could try one more time, then we can try and patch him through. I want to also thank the brother who came last night, Brother Bilal, because he did a really good job on the radio station, answered some good questions for us, and inshallah he gave us a good amount of knowledge that we can personally take part, and we can take away from. So inshallah, I think that if you do decide that you are looking to get a bit of knowledge under your hats, the Let's Talk show is a good place to start. We do not promote sectarianism. So if there's somebody here who says, well, I believe in this, and someone, is it right or wrong? We're not interested. We're not interested in that at all. But inshallah, if somebody wants to have an open mind and they do want to contact us, then inshallah they can do. They're more than welcome to come in and talk to us on the phone, send us a text message, or tune in on the web. So on the World Wide Web, I'll give you the contact details again, www.radiomac.org. So if you fancy listening to the Let's Talk show, you can try us on www.radiomac.org. And I know that we get quite a lot of text messages, so I'm going to start off with one. Slam Brothers, does eardrops or eye drops break your rosa? In fake books it says that eardrops do break rosa, but the scholars say it doesn't. Can Shaykh please shed some light on this? Brother, the topic tonight isn't about those, and I understand from my limited knowledge, I know that eye drops don't invalidate, because they but I don't know about eardrops, whether the eardrop...
That is the topic today, yeah. That is the topic.
Oh, right, okay. Right, in that case, slap me with a wet kipper. That is the topic.
It is indeed.
Yeah, so that is relevant. Jazakallah, my brother. So carry on with the text message. Ignore me. I've obviously dipped too many jalebis in the good old iron brew, and then the fizzy bubbles are now getting to my head. And I wanted to also give big salam out to Brother Naseem. I was listening to his show during the week, and it's really good. I think it's called Tiny Talk or something like that, or Minute Talk, or Insignificant Talk. No, I think it's called Small Talk. But you can listen to it in the afternoons, and the brother is on, and you can listen to him. Very, very knowledgeable brother, and a good show for you to have a little listen to. So, I want to know whether or not our Dubai contingent, Operation Desert Storm, are they listening in, or are they not listening in? That's the question. If they are listening in, please let us know. And we can then plug you in. Just a couple of things people keep asking me about. They say, who is Brother Manny? Brother Manny is my very dear little brother, Brother Munir Khan, and he came on the radio station in the last 3 or 4 years, and every time he's come on, the phone lines and the text messages have gone absolutely ballistic. The reason for it is very, very widely known. He's known for his good deeds. He's also known for some of his bad deeds, and he's also known for supporting Liverpool, which is perhaps his worst deed.
It is ringing, you're not answering.
Well, it's not coming up here. And he's ringing the landline. I'll have to wait till Brother Javid comes and then we'll find out from there. Sorry, Brother Bilal, we're having a few technical issues. Alright, shall be a second. So, I'm just going to get Brother Javed, who's one of our technical helpers here. So nobody's rung just yet. So if he rings again, this light will start flashing. When the light starts flashing, hit the word 0 and we lift off. Let's try again, Mr. Brother Bilal. Just while we're waiting for that, I want to also thank Brother Javed, who's here. He's ringing, is he? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, no, that's not him. So let's try again. If he rings through, we could have done with Dr. Umar. He fiddles around with these phones far too often for my liking. Right, so when he rings, the light will flash on the left. We shall press the button on the right, and then let's see what happens. So is the brother ringing again? Here we go.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, we can hear you now, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Just move these towards you, Sajid. Yeah. How's that working? Because I can hear a few whistles. It's probably no, it's not going to work there. It's probably going to be best up here somewhere, and you'll have to get nearer. Right. Let's do a little test, Brother Bilal. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Can Brother Sajid hear us?
Yeah, I can hear
Are you okay, Brother Saj? Okay, right, let's go for it. So first, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Bilal, Jazakallah khair for coming on at very short notice.
No problem.
I believe we've got Shaykh Haroon later on.
We have indeed.
Brother Bilal, how are you?
Are you well?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you very much again for joining us. Inshallah, today's show is about Ramadan, what's it all about. So if I could start the questions, is that okay?
Inshallah.
The first question, as always, is what is Ramadan? Basics.
Ramadan is a blessed month. It's the 9th month in the Islamic lunar calendar. And it's the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed in it for us fasting the entire month of Ramadan.
Okay.
And it's also the blessed month that the Quran was revealed, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran.
What is special about the month of Ramadan?
The month of Ramadan is really, it's a culmination of all the acts of ibadah that Muslims do. So we see that the fasting in the month of Ramadan, there's the giving of charity in the month of Ramadan is highly encouraged. The prayers, the Taraweeh prayers every night in the month of Ramadan. All of these acts of worship, making dua, reading the Quran as well. All of these acts of worship, they're accumulated in the month of Ramadan. So Ramadan is the month of ibadah in reality. It's a month of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, the purpose of fasting in the month of Ramadan.
The purpose of fasting in the month of Ramadan, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stipulated it in the Quran, is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, in order that you will attain taqwa in order you will attain righteousness, in order you will attain God consciousness. And taqwa, the ulama define it as implementing the commands of Allah and abstaining from the prohibitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is taqwa. So the month of Ramadan, the main purpose is for us to increase in that taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are many wisdoms. There are many wisdoms in the month of Ramadan. We see that we live in a time of extreme extravagance and attachment to the dunya. The Ramadan is a time where we abstain. We don't only abstain from food and drink, but it's also a time where we should abstain from that extravagance, abstain from excessiveness, abstain from attachments to the worldly life, and connect to our Creator. This is the purpose of the month of Ramadan.
Okay. Now, I've always heard, since I was a young lad, a long time ago, that, the purpose of fasting is, as you just mentioned, is to achieve the taqwa, the God conscious. But the answer that we don't always get is, how by fasting and not eating or drinking all day do you get taqwa?
Well, the problem that we have is that, especially Muslims in the West, I think we only look at the physical. We're only concerned with the material and the physical. But many people who fast, they experience that spiritual boost. And many people, they may be apprehensive when it comes to Ramadan, and they say that they're going to fast in long hours. But when they actually get into it, they find that it's easy, and they start reading the Quran, they start engaging in dhikr, and they fast. And there's a spiritual energy as well. So we can't ignore the spiritual side. There's a spiritual boost as well. Unfortunately, we become people who are concerned with the outward and the material.
What I get a bit confused with is that a lot of people say that by fasting, you just get a headache and you get bad breath. You don't get anything else. So where does the taqwa come from? This is the question from the youngsters today.
Yes, there's also a hadith that mentions that there's people who get nothing from the fast except for empty stomachs, and they get nothing from their prayers at night except for tired legs. And another hadith mentions, which is sahih, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if somebody doesn't give up his lying and his vain talk, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of his fast. So that there are different levels of fasting as well.
Okay.
The lower level is just to abstain from food and drink. This is a lower level of fasting. But the higher level is that you engage in acts of worship throughout your fast. And Imam Ghazali says that actually the highest level of fasting, what he labels the fast of the khawas, is that you abstain from anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout that fast. So you're only engaged with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that fast. Unfortunately, something that's quite difficult for us to do, especially in the summer months, is to lower our gaze. But this is another thing that's required when a person is fasting. Normally, it's prohibited for us to commit haram or evil acts outside of Ramadan, but that is intensified in the month of Ramadan, and the person who's fasting, you should have some type of consciousness about that and awareness about that. And by this is taqwa will increase, inshallah.
Brother Bilal, we've had a couple of text messages, and one of them is from a brother called Arthur, and I'm really glad this guy is tuning into our show, and I'm not sure whether the brother is Muslim or whether he's not, but I suppose that's relevant. What he's saying is, he doesn't understand why our fast is so long, and should it not be shorter? Because other countries have shorter fast days, whereas in the UK, it could be anywhere from 1 o'clock, depending on which mosque you follow, to 9:45. But yet, in places like Saudi Arabia, it finishes dead early. So how come we can't finish early?
Yeah. Well, the fast is connected to, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. To eat and drink until the white thread of dawn becomes separate from the black thread. ثُمَّ أَتِمُوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Then complete the fast to the night, which ends at sunset. So wherever we are, the fast is always going to begin at dawn and end at sunset. That's not something that's going to change. So if we choose to live in these lands, then that's something that we have to adhere to. And we see in the winter time, in countries that are in northern latitudes, we see that the fasts are very short. They're very, very short. In places like Saudi Arabia, it may not change. There will only be a very slight change between the summer and the winter. So the fast is of equal length. But in the winter time, our fasts are very short. We stop fasting around 4 o'clock when the sun sets in the winter time. So that makes up for what we're doing now in the summer.
I think also on this point, Dr. Umar gave a good explanation a few days ago, and when he said, look, what's the temperature in the UK? It's about 20 degrees, isn't it?
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, it's 40-something degrees, so he would have a longer time period. Somebody with twice the heat, or somebody with less the heat. So as a Muslim, we always say the very divine answer, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And here is a brilliant example of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
I mean, I was in Yemen last year. I was fasting there, and many times the electric I would cut out. We wouldn't have any air conditioning. We wouldn't have any even fans to cool ourselves, and I would feel intense. First, at that time I'd be sweating inside my house. It's so hot in the middle of the summer. So that really makes up for anything that we're going through here. In fact, I found that the fasts over there harder than the fast that I'm doing here now in the UK.
Yep, absolutely. Another question that people say about Ramadan, and again, this is actually from a new text message. It says, Ramadan is all hyped up. It's just trying to compete against Christmas.
I'm not sure what the person means by that.
I think what they're trying to say is, during Christmas, you've got the commercial element of it, which we've now got. During Christmas, you've got the good vibe, you've got the happy feeling, the giving of the present, and everyone's nicey-nicey. So, are we as Muslims suddenly decided that when it's Ramzan, we're going to do everything? Because I've noticed that the shopkeepers have suddenly put up the prices. I've noticed that even the hairdressers, which unfortunately I don't get to go to, have ramped up the prices. So is Ramzan now more commercial?
It may be. Personally, I haven't seen that. I haven't been in the UK for a long while, so
you may not know.
I don't know about that, so I can't really make a comment. I haven't experienced that. But there is some sense of competing. I'm giving the biggest iftar, and I gave iftar to this amount of people, and I gave this amount of charity. There seems to be some of that going on.
Yeah.
May Allah protect us from it.
Okay, Jazakallah, brother. Just a few more questions for you, that's okay. So first of all,
no problem.
I just want to try to emphasize on the benefits of fasting in the month of Ramadan. So you kind of touched on the spiritual benefits. So if you could kind of elaborate on what those spiritual benefits are, and so all our listeners, if they wanted to get the best out of the month of Ramadan, what can they do to achieve these spiritual benefits?
To achieve the greatest spiritual benefit in the month of Ramadan, a person really needs to disengage with those things that are diverting him from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. If you can't read the Quran in the month of Ramadan, then you're not going to be able to read it in any other month. If you can't disengage from Facebook, from Twitter, from Instagram, and from the news in the month of Ramadan, then when are you going to do it? So really, if we're really sincere and we really want to engage with the Quran in the month of Ramadan, with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we need to disassociate from those things that are diverting us from reading the Quran and diverting us from the remembrance of Allah outside of Ramadan. Otherwise we're not going to attain the maximum spiritual benefit of Ramadan.
Okay. Now, it'll be interesting to know how the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he spent his time in the month of Ramadan. How did he spend his day? What did he do?
Yes, as you know, in Saudi, in those days, they never had any air conditioning or fans, but they fasted. But the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, he would spend his time in reciting the Quran, spend his time in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was his state inside and outside of Ramadan. And there's a hadith that mentions as well that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam was one of the most generous of people, but even more so in Ramadan, even more so than a wind bringing rain clouds, that the hadith mentions. So the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam would increase in worship, he would increase in charity, he would spend the last 10 days of Ramadan in i'tikaf, and he would approach his wife during that time, and he would seek out Laylatul Qadr in those last 10 nights. And the year before he died, he spent 20 days in i'tikaf. Spent 20 days in i'tikaf, reviving the nights of Ramadan. The nights are short, but it's important that we also revive the nights of these nights of Ramadan as well.
Also, is that a lot of people think, and you can tell me if this is correct or not, that one of the purposes of the month of Ramadan and fasting in the month of Ramadan is that so you know how the poor people feel. Is that part of the purpose of Ramadan?
It's one of the wisdoms of Ramadan. I wouldn't say the purpose, but it's definitely from one of the wisdoms of us fasting in Ramadan. We see the excessiveness in the UK. 62% of adults in the UK are obese or overweight. 62%. This is on the increase. Diabetes is on the increase. You tell us what is the solution for that. And we have the solution for that. Allah is giving us solutions for that. There's people that have no food. There's people that are starving in the road. People going hungry. And when we fast, we feel a sense of what they're going through. Just a sense of what they're going through. We're not forced to fast. We do it voluntary. But we have some type of feeling about and sentiment and empathy to those poor people as well when we fast.
Brother, I wanted to ask, one of the things that you said early on was about dropping your gaze. What did you mean by that?
Lowering the gaze.
Dropping your gaze.
Dropping the gaze.
Lowering the gaze.
Lowering the gaze, yeah. In the UK, obviously, we see that nakedness is apparent in the streets wherever you go. It's in our homes as well, on the TV, on computer screens, on laptops, on mobiles, smartphones, tablets. And we're constantly bombarded with
images,
with this imagery of a sexual nature. And as Muslims, we're required to lower our gaze. We're required not to look at that, not to engage in that, to speak. So one of the most difficult things, really, I believe, for us fasting in the West is to lower our gaze. But when we do that, we will feel the sweetness of Iman. We will feel a boost in that Iman. We will feel that spirituality when we force ourselves not to look. When we force ourselves to lower our gazes.
Yeah, if there are brothers or sisters even out there who are not able to resist that urge, would consistently looking at people a few times, would that invalidate the fast?
It doesn't invalidate the fast. It's not something that invalidates the fast from a legal point of view. But there's a spiritual aspect of the fast as well. There's a spiritual aspect of the fast. So a person may lose some reward of that fast. Like the hadith mentions, there's people that get nothing from the fast except from hunger and thirst. So we need to be aware and try our best to adhere to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during that fast, in order that we can get the most benefit from that in this world and in the hereafter.
Okay, brother. Also, a lot of the questions that we get, and this is especially from the non-Muslims, when they find out that we're fasting for 17 hours and we're going to fast for 30 days, the question is, they ask us, isn't that bad for your health? Isn't fasting going to harm you? Is it not going to make you weak?
Well, medically, from a medical point of view, from what I've been told by doctors, I know it's not harmful for your health, unless a person already has some type of illness. That's a different case. But somebody who's a normal person, is well and fit, then it will not be detrimental to the person's health. Rather, it will be beneficial for that person. And doctors, they recommend now people to fast, and I think a lot of people know that. Many non-Muslims actually try fasting as well with the Muslims in Ramadan, and they've done it, and they found the benefits physically and spiritually and mentally.
What would you say are the physical benefits? Because you've kind of touched on the spiritual benefits. What would you say the physical benefits are?
I'm not too sure. I'm not a doctor, so I can't give precise answers. But I have heard doctors recommending people to fast. Obviously, when we fast, the body first breaks down the sugars in the body, and then it moves on to the actual fat of the body. It moves on to the fat of the body. So obviously, normally if a person fasts, they will lose weight as well in Ramadan. And like I said, we have a big problem, especially in the Muslim community, with obesity, with heart disease, with diabetes, and the fast will assist in keeping that at a level, inshallah.
Okay. Now, one point that you actually touched on was that, in terms of the physical benefits, is that, there is a lot of obesity, and during fasting, we could lose weight. But, in the Muslim community especially, we seem to put weight on in the month of Ramadan. Is it
That's why you're looking at me when you said
I wasn't looking at you.
You were looking at me, and you're the devourer of proteins. The Prata Pahana, that's what you are.
What I was going to say is that, it makes sense that if you don't eat for 17, 18 hours, that you should be losing, some fat, and you should be getting the physical benefits. But why is it that, a lot of us, we put weight on? Is it because we don't understand how to have the fast, how we should eat? Is it that we don't understand what the sunnah is when it comes to, how we should eat at iftar? Where is it that we're going wrong here?
I think if that is true, if that is happening, that people are actually putting on weight in Ramadan, usually it doesn't happen. It's rare that will happen. But if that does happen, then that individual needs to look at their diet. What are they eating at iftar time? What are they eating at suhoor? Are they just having chicken burgers and fatty food and chips and these things every single night for suhoor and pizza and whatnot? Oily foods. And the doctors, they recommend one to abstain from these type of foods when they're fasting. They stick to foods that are high in carbohydrates, cereals and bread, and so they really need to look at their diet if that is happening.
Okay, Sheikh, I know you are also short of time as well, so just a final question for yourself. As a summary, what would you say are, for our listeners, what are the main lessons that they can take away from the month of Ramadan and from actually fasting in the month of Ramadan? What is it that we need to learn from this month?
I believe that we need to learn abstinence from attachment to the worldly life in the month of Ramadan. I think this is the biggest lesson that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to teach us in the month of Ramadan. That we can abstain from being attached to this worldly life, and I confirm I should be the hereafter, and also to have empathy for others as well. These are the biggest lessons that we need to take from Ramadan, really. Allah knows best.
MashaAllah. Right.
Jazakallah. Thanks very much, Brother Bilal. And I'll let you get back to your paratha.
You're the one having the parathas.
Yeah, no need for that. You've been copying both sides. Jazakallah. Until next time, Allah keep us.
Allah bless you.
Jazakallah. So that was Brother Bilal, who came on our radio show yesterday, and he's given us some information, and he's told us a little bit about Ramzan. Do we recognise Ramzan? And we had earlier on a couple of text messages that came through, and I decided to quickly jot some of these down and create a little bit of a top 10. So I'm going to go through
top 10 hits.
So, top 10. These are top 10 excuses. Number 1, bro can't keep puddles on because it's the headache. Number 2, medicine. I have paracetamol once every 13 days. I can't keep any roses because of it. Number 3, work. They don't let you keep roses there. The kuffar are on to me, bro. They say you can't keep any rosy at work. Number 4, it's too long. Number 5, I'm going to do it when I'm a bit old. You know, at the moment, I don't need to do any of this, you know, namaz, all that. I'm going to do that, you know, I get a bit old. I'm going to do it then.
When I'm dead.
And then, listen, this Ramzan is for people who don't practice. I practice, bro. I read my namaz. I'm at Jummah every week. I do my salah, I do everything once a month. And I do it all year round. I don't have to worry about Ramadan. And then we've got the Kuzi bros. Bro, I go to do Ramzan and I'm going to do all of that rosa. The thing is, bro, I'm in the training. And I'm having those drinks and fizzy because I'm doing training at the gym. Yeah, because obviously the next Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming from Oldham, as we probably know. And then we got the worst one of them all. All this where you're starving yourself. Allah knows best, man. He knows my heart. He knows I'm with him. I don't have to do any of that. All that's backward, innit? I don't have to do any of it because he knows me. So it's a bit of a top 10 going on there, Brother Sajid. What do you make of that?
MashaAllah, yeah, to be honest with you, joking aside, they are spot on. They are excuses that people use. They are things that, that people use that, that think that, and that is, that's our ego, that's the weakness. And we can't even blame it on the shaitan in this month, can we? Because the shaitans are locked up. So I think it's just, our desire, our weakness. And I think in this month of Ramadan, if we're going to use these excuses, then what chance have you got for the rest of the year? So the idea is to make the best out of this month. And the way I look at it is listen, we're not perfect, no one is, I'm not, So the idea is, if you're not reading your namaz, this is the time to start on it. If you've got bad habits, this is time to put them down. If you're smoking, this is time to cut down. You've got a girlfriend on the side, a boyfriend on the side, but this is the time to stop, because we've got to go back to what's halal, and we've got to stop what's haram. And you know what, Brother Zaid? I don't sound like a movie because we've got too many, well, we've kind of forgot halal and haram. It doesn't exist anymore to a lot of people. In the month of Ramadan and the things that you see in front of you, people still holding hands with girlfriends and people still smoking in Ramadan, and outside Ramadan, the drugs, the alcohol, the abuse, the porn, whatever. That we are Muslims, and halal and haram doesn't exist, bro.
See, I completely agree with you, Brother Sajid, because one thing that people completely forget, and that is, we are constantly telling people, look, you do a good deed, that good deed could be 10 times, it could be 70, it could be 700. But equally so, that bad deed is also magnified 70 times, 700 times. So look at all the bad stuff that people are still doing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects us from the evil of this world. But I went to a supermarket in Westwood and I saw people buying alcohol again. And I know that these are, there's a problem with alcoholism within the Muslim community. It's a hidden sin. And we always think, oh, no, they don't. But I can tell you, when I'm in court, the number of people that turn up with their 2-foot daddies and they've been done, and they're done for domestic violence, bro. And they'll say when they get there, it was a moment of madness. His character is normally good. And he was under the influence of alcohol and he took to violence against his wife. Well, that might be what they say in court, but as far as I am concerned, and that more importantly is the concern of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's glorious Quran and its laws. The sin was committed earlier on. It wasn't that he is of a good character. Anybody who drinks alcohol is strictly not of a good character. There is no justification to it at all. There isn't, oh, I was so thirsty, Brother Zaid, I found across, there was only a bottle of Jack Daniel for me to drink. You know, you find the worst, oh, it's medicine. There's no medicine that I know of, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me a degree of health, and whenever I've been poorly, I've never stumbled across anything like that. And just a few other things. We are getting quite a lot of text messages. I'm holding them for the Sheikh.
Okay, I was just going to say that the Sheikh said he's going to phone in the next couple of minutes. So,
yeah, we can pick him up.
If there's any text message they need to read before.
Yeah,
there are questions. Yeah,
there are a lot of questions.
Leave the questions out. Any ones which aren't questions.
Any of them that are not questions?
Yeah.
Okay. The first one is, and somebody is here saying that a certain brand of chicken, which makes peri-peri chicken, and we can name them because they're not a Muslim company and not halal. And this is what we've known for quite some time. So Nando's is not halal. You know,
I would dispute that, but I would dispute it. But I think a lot of scholars would dispute it. I go Nando's. So
Brother Sajid, you now are going to be, I'm going to call off with my sawn off. Squeeze my trigger and Sajid, you're going to be sawn off because they stun the chickens and they have no verification behind the halal. So how come that became halal?
When we have this topic, we will discuss it, inshallah.
Okay, right. Well, up until that time, if anyone wants to join Brother Sajid in the corridors of sin, do let me know. Up until that point, vote no. And just a couple of ones here. Big salam and big shout out going out to Brother Iji. I don't know who that is. And also big salam going out to somebody called the King Sparrow. I don't know. I think
what's all these names anyway? Am I missing something here?
Do you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Which ones? Do you ever watch any TV, Sajid? Or are you too busy coming out of Nando's?
You're a funny one, aren't you?
They don't have TV in there, do they? Brother, can I open a fast without kajur? Because having too many kajurs leaves me a bit frisky. Well, don't eat the kajurs. Another one, there's a couple of other text messages I want to just read out. Brother, who are Operation Desert Storm? Well, good question. We've got over our radio station a lot of brothers that listen to us that are in Dubai. Some brothers are listening to us from Pakistan. Now, the Pakistani ones, we've not had many calls from them. Maybe that there's a bit of load shedding going on there. But the Dubai gang, that's Operation Desert Storm. There's quite a few there. And all of the brothers that are listening there use names under the characters of Game of Thrones. So if anyone's ever watched Game of Thrones, inside there's a little guy called Tyrion Lannister. I'll have to show you a picture of him, Sajid. Then you'll get it a bit more.
I've seen the advert, which is not halal, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look. Just a few other important announcements. And the first one is
Sheikh's
that...
coming now.
Oh, the Sheikh's... Oh, yeah, I've got him. Sorry, we'll come back to these in a second.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Haroon.
Wa alaikum salam. Is it Sajid?
Brother Zaid.
Zaid, assalamu alaikum.
How's your Ramzan? And Ramzan Mubarak to you, my brother.
Alhamdulillah, it's good. Khair Mubarak, mashallah.
I always look forward to your call, brother.
MashaAllah.
It must have been a very difficult year for you.
No, mashallah, it's all good. It's all good. We live with hope. Next year.
Oh, well, hang on a minute. How come... Well, I was talking about Ramzan. You know.
No. Listen, brother. Let me make my opening statement clear. We had a few hiccups last year, but...
No call, brother.
MashaAllah.
It must have been a very difficult year for you.
No, MashaAllah, it's all good. It's all good. We live with hope. Next year.
Oh, well, hang on a minute. How come... Well, I was talking about Ramzan. You know...
No. Listen, brother. Let me make my opening statement clear. We had a few hiccups last year, but everything's going to be okay. We live in hope. We don't walk alone. We have total faith and confidence in our man, so we're going to do it next year.
All right. I will completely and totally agree with you, Sheikh. You never walk alone. Not when there's somebody's car to take at the end of the night. Brother Sajid.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Sajid, you okay?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah. How was the show yesterday with Sheikh
Alhamdulillah. It was brilliant, mashallah. And we also had him earlier on as well. And mashallah, as always, he was spot on. If I can start with some of the questions, Sheikh.
Yeah, bismillah.
Okay, so first of all, straight to the question, in terms of fasting, who has to fast?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The person who has to fast is a Muslim who's an adult. A child doesn't need to fast, although when they get close to puberty they should be advised to fast. An adult who's a resident, he's in his hometown. If he's a traveller, he doesn't need to fast. Okay. Who's healthy, if the person's sick, they don't need to fast. And a woman who's clean, if she's menstruating, she doesn't need to fast. And somebody who's not elderly, a really old person, it does not need to fast.
Okay. Sheikh, what about sportsmen? Because we've had a text message here from so-called people in older me think they're going to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, we're in training, bro. We don't have to fast. Or footballers.
No, tell them to fast.
Footballers?
When they become the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, then tell them to phone in.
Then we can tell them about the...
In the meantime, we tell them they need to fast. If they go to the gym or they're training, even the sports people, they should fast. And if the fast gets too hard, like extremely hard, like extreme hardship, then they could break it. But they should not begin every single day saying that we go training so we don't need to fast. They should fast, and if it gets too hard, then they can break it.
Okay, Sheikh. So a lot of the questions that people ask is what actually breaks the fast? What are the main points that break our fast?
The main thing that breaks the fast is, or the general principle, anything that enters the mouth, and is swallowed down the throat, anything that goes up the nose, like nasal sprays, they will break the fast. Anything that goes through the ear, like eardrops, and anything that enters the rear passage. So it's the direct passages. If something enters through those direct passages, then the fast will be broken.
So how come eye drops don't invalidate it?
When you see the reason why, historically the jurists they considered that in principle it's anything that enters the passage that goes to the stomach or that goes to the brain. So historically the jurists the fuqaha, they stated there's no passage that connects directly to the brain, so therefore it doesn't break.
But the eardrops do?
Yes, eardrops do.
Jazakallah, because that was one of the questions that a brother asked for. So Jazakallah for that, Sheikh.
Oh yeah, cool, sure.
Okay. Now, just to elaborate on some of the things you said that breaks the fast, because some people, we get this question all the time, in terms of the relationship between the husband and the wife,
yeah,
what breaks the fast there and what doesn't?
Okay, I'm going to be explicit.
Yeah, go for it.
Explicit. If sexual intercourse takes place between husband and wife...
Sorry, Sheikh, let me please forgive me. I just want to make a small announcement before I give this over. And this is just because it's our third show. So this show is an adult show. We have a learned scholar on the radio. And before anybody misconstrues, my name's Zahid Maqbool, and we take full responsibility over these answers and questions. This is not a show for the bunty and bubblies. It's not for them little teeny boppers. There's no nards coming on here at all.
Tell them it's X-rated, this, alright?
It is. It's a bit like one of Steven Gerrard's tackles against United.
No, they were good. He only did one. He should have done a few more. As a farewell gift.
Sheikh, you were saying before you brought into the Liverpool business.
Sexual intercourse that requires a ghusl would not only break the fast, but a kafara, a penalty, where the person has to do 60 days consecutive fast is required. So that's the most extreme case. The second case,
any type of physical contact between husband and wife, any type of sexual contact, which results in an emission, sexual emission, breaks the fast, but all that's required is that the person has to make up that fast. And then the third case after that, if there's no contact, if they touch each other with sexual desire, but there's no sexual emission, then it's makruh. It's disliked to do that if there's a fear that it may lead to sexual intercourse, but it does not break the fast. So we have 3 different cases there.
Okay, since we're being explicit, I mean...
You don't need to, that's you started it.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, because these are the questions that we get asked.
Yeah.
So, does masturbation break the fast?
Yes, it does. Okay. But it requires a qada. It just needs that day be made up. But there's no penalty of 60 days for that.
Okay, thank you. If you have a wet dream, does that break the fast?
No, it doesn't. A wet dream doesn't. And in addition to that, if a person is in a state of sexual impurity, like husband and wife, they've had sexual relations during the night time, and when they wake up at Fajr time, they're still in a state of impurity. Being in a state of impurity does not break your fast.
Jazakallah. Sorry, there's one final point just on the subject. Does watching porn break the fast?
It doesn't break the fast, but as long as like nothing else happens after that, it doesn't break the fast. But a person loses the reward of his fast. So,
Jazakallah.
Yeah.
Just want to mention my nephew Jeffrey Mann, who's asked a question here. Little Jeffrey's asking, can you do your toothbrush? I think he's asking whether or not you're allowed to brush your teeth with toothpaste in the morning. His dad has got the dragon's lair breath, so he wants to know.
Time to go to a dentist. But using toothpaste does not break your fast unless you accidentally or you swallow some of that toothpaste. What a person needs to be careful though is just like when you're brushing your teeth with toothpaste that you don't swallow anything, and just make sure that you wash out the taste from the saliva. The one that probably does break it is if you use an electric toothbrush, because with that the spray that comes out of it, and that'll probably go to the back of the throat.
Right. So refrain from the electric toothbrush. We have on the radio Dr. Umar is a qualified top-end dentist, and he said there is a particular product in, I can't remember its name, in toothpaste, and he said you should rinse your mouth out thoroughly. From my understanding, if you don't rinse your mouth out thoroughly, then you have a dry mouth during the course of the day, and that could lead you to having a difficult fast.
Yeah.
So if you are going to brush your teeth, do it with care, and make sure you rinse your mouth out carefully.
Also, Sheikh, what about using the mouthwash?
Mouthwash. If a person's going to use mouthwash, they have to be very careful, because and that's more likely to break it. Because with toothpaste, you don't take the toothpaste to the back of the mouth. Right. It's just around the teeth, and you spit that out. Whereas with mouthwash, you gargle the mouth, you wash the whole of the mouth, so the probability of some of that mouthwash being swallowed increases significantly. Okay. But again, it wouldn't outright break it unless you know for certain you swallowed it. It's like just normally washing your mouth, like when you do your wudu or you have a shower, or you just wash your mouth. You put water in. There's a possibility water will go down, but it doesn't break unless it goes down.
I've got a question here from Brother Manny. It says, Salam, what about those people who think it's okay not to fast and just brush it aside? And they claim they are Muslims. What happens to them? And do they, when they do it year in, year out?
People like that, I mean, they need to be advised about the serious nature of the obligation of fasting. They're still Muslim unless they deny that fasting has got anything to do with Islam, when that person is no longer considered Muslim. But if they just don't bother doing it and they don't care about it, they're still Muslim. It's a major sin, one of the most severe sins a person can do. But they just need to be advised, and somebody needs to sit with them and just explain to them the importance of fasting.
Jazakallah. Got another one here for you, Sheikh. It says, Salam, I have a brother with autism and learning difficulties. Is Rosa fasting fard on him? We have tried motivating him to keep the fast, but he won't keep the fast. He is 22 years old.
I feel it's difficult for me to answer that question, because with autism, I don't know enough about that condition to be able to answer. If it affects the mental age of that person, then the obligation may well be lifted from that person. But I don't know enough about the condition to answer.
Inshallah, we will look up autism and we will come back to you.
As far as I know, I'm on tomorrow, so if you give me a chance, I'll look more into it and then hopefully be able to answer it tomorrow.
Brother Sajid.
Jazakallah, Shaykh. Now, if someone, I think just going back to the toothbrush and the mouthwash, the question linked to that is if you brush your teeth and your mouth or your gum starts to bleed, does that break your fast?
No, generally, going beyond the mouth, bleeding does not break your fast. Mouth bleeding also doesn't break it unless you know you swallowed the blood. If you know you swallowed the blood, either because you can taste it, like when the saliva that you swallowed, you tasted blood in that, then you've broken your fast. Or you swallowed saliva and when you spat it out into the wash basin, you noticed it was red or it was close to red, then you know that you swallowed blood, then you've broken it. So in that case, you've broken your fast.
Jazakallah. You're listening to Let's Talk, and if you want to send your question, we're talking about Ramzan. What do you know about Ramzan? What are you frightened about Ramzan? What are you not so sure? What is it that people are telling you about this glorious month? And it is a glorious month. Send us a text. We've got Shaykh Haroon from Liverpool, and you can send me a text 07801 951 501. That's 07801 951 501. And a couple of shout outs, one to Brother Zaf from Mirpur, and also Bola, who's known as Lord Vadis, and a couple more here. How old when a child has to do Ramzan?
A child does not need to fast. There's no legal obligation on a child to fast until he becomes an adult, which is at the latest 15 years old. But there's a responsibility on the father and the mother of the child to make sure that their children are fasting at the latest from the age of 10. At the latest from the age of 10, even before that from the age of 7, get them used to it from the age of 10. They should be disciplined if they're not fasting, so that when they reach the age of puberty, they're doing it without any difficulty.
Okay, Jazakallah. Now, Sheikh, you earlier you mentioned what actually breaks the fast. I just got a question saying, what else breaks the fast? For example, if you backbite, if you lie, if you swear, does that actually break? If you fight,
if you punch?
Yeah, bad manners.
That's like the question before about watching pornography whilst fasting.
Yeah.
They all fall into the same category. Generally, any act that is a sinful act, haram act to do, it's haram and you lose the reward of your fast, but it doesn't actually break your fast. If you carried on fasting, which you should still do, you've done your fast, and that person is required to make tawbah and repent from what he's done. Okay. But it doesn't break the fast.
I think we need to go back to the opening question that we asked Brother Bilal for someone listening. What is the purpose of actually fasting? Why do we fast, and what should we be trying to achieve?
First and foremost, with all, we should just get into our heads that we do these things because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to do it. And He has the greatest wisdom in everything that He does. The Quran then tells us the wisdom behind it. In the ayah in the Quran it says لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may be people of consciousness and awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the ultimate purpose of why you fast. That through the act of fasting you stop yourself from committing haram acts, and during the night, because you've been in that state where you didn't commit haram during the day, during the night you pray your tarawih, you read your Quran, you do a lot of dua and so on. So because of the fasting, you're engaged in a state of worship, and after 30 days you feel that you're closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the ultimate spiritual objective of why we fast.
Jazakallah, you're listening to Let's Talk. This is 87.9 Radio Ramzan, and on the radio telephone hotline we've got Shaykh Haroon from Liverpool answering your detailed questions about Ramadan. Send us a text 07801 951 501. Tune in www.radiomac.org. Just a couple of shout outs going out here. One of them here, Ali Abbas, happy birthday to you. Bring the Mackay to the studio for saying that one. We've done you a little bit of a shout out, even though we don't normally do that. It says that autism is a condition where you are routine orientated. You always stick to your routine And if your routine breaks, then you get depressed. But the Sheikh is going to look into that and come back to us with a more detailed answer. Here's one for you, Sheikh. It says, Salams. Can women during menstruation listen to the translation of the Quran from beginning to end, or read it in English? Can we read it? Can we read as for protection during menstruation?
Reading in Arabic, no. Reading the translation according to the Hanafi madhab, no, but according to the other three madhabs, yes. So there is some leeway there. But according to the Hanafi madhab, not even the translation can be read whilst a woman is menstruating. But what she can do, she can listen to it in Arabic, she can listen to it, the translation being read. So she has some freedom there.
Okay, Sheikh, on that point also then, for those women who actually miss their fast due to their menstruation, do they need to make it up? And if so, how and when?
Yes, every woman that misses fast because of menstruation has to make up all of those days. Preferably as soon as, ideally, she has one day to celebrate Eid where you're not allowed to fast. The very next day after, they get them done the days after that, so that they don't build up. If she doesn't do that, then the next best thing is to try and get them done before the next Ramadan. But if she hasn't got that done, and she's got the rest of her life to get it done, but she should not try and delay them so that they build up and get too much.
Okay. Now, we always get this question is for those people who can't fast due to medical reasons that you mentioned earlier, what do they need to do?
If it's a long-term sickness from which there's no expected recovery, then they have to make a payment known as a fidya, which is a compensation payment that will cover the fast. But that's on the condition that it's a long-term sickness like diabetes or severe asthma, where there's no expected recovery or cure for it. Then they make a payment equivalent to the fitrana, which comes to around £2 for every day's fast. So for the month, £60 they pay to give it to a poor Muslim, and that will cover them. But that's on the condition that they don't recover from that sickness.
Jazakallah, Sheikh. Just another question that's come through, and this might be self-explanatory. It says, do pregnant women need to fast?
Pregnant women have been given an exemption by the Prophet ﷺ. They're not required to fast if the fasting will cause any difficulty to her or to the unborn child. And she does that on the advice of a Muslim doctor or a Muslim midwife, or because she was pregnant before and she struggled. So in that case where she knows she can't fast because of that difficulty, then she's not allowed to fast, because she's not allowed to put herself or her unborn child in danger. And then all she's required to do is make up those fasts after the pregnancy, and after breastfeed, if she breastfeeds the child, after breastfeeding the child. And nothing else is required. There's no payment required for that.
Okay, sure. Now, we've also got a question is, if you've got asthma and you have to use an inhaler, does that break your fast?
Yes, it does break the fast.
Are there two types of inhalers, I believe?
Yes, but they both break the fast.
Because I do have heard answers by other scholars saying that one inhaler doesn't, one inhaler does. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that, and I've heard also certain views that state that it doesn't break at all. So it is a point of differences, but from what I understand from my teachers, it does break the fast.
Okay. And in terms of you need to go to a doctor, you need to take an injection, or if you need to give blood, does that break the fast?
No, injections do not break unless it's an injection through the passage itself, right. And giving blood does not break.
And one other question I've got about the side is, if you are sick and you vomit, does that break the fast?
No, if you vomit, it does not break the fast, whether it's a small or a large amount. The only case where vomiting breaks the fast is if you have to induce the vomit. Let's say that you're really sick and you're struggling and you induce the vomit and you bring up a large amount, more than a mouthful, only then does it break the fast.
Okay. Jazakallah. Sheikh, there's a controversial one here for you. There's an organisation which I won't name that came on the BBC. That organisation is an Islamic, or claims to be an Islamic organisation, so-called. They are saying that the time period within the UK is wrong. It should be reduced because it's not right. What do you say about that? That's a Muslim organisation is criticising the length of the Islamic calendar.
They are not a Muslim organisation. They do not represent the Muslims. They represent themselves and those who set them up. Like the idea of shortening the days of fast, it's something that's been. I mean, leave aside that organisation. There are certain scholars who've suggested that. In truth, again, I don't think anybody should consider that view. If somebody finds it really difficult, what they should do is just fast, see how far they go, and if they're really suffering to an extreme point, then they could break the fast. But other than that, people should just fast and just get used to the idea, like 19, 20 hours. If you're thinking about food and your mind's always on food, that's where the problem is. Not the length of time, that's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, just on that one, brother Shaykh Haroon, when your mind is on food, and I'm one of these people whose mind is on food quite a lot, your mind should be in ibadat. And with this Ramzan period, we've got 1,000,001 things that we can think about, but yet we choose during the holiest month of the Islamic calendar to preoccupy our minds with nothing but rubbish. What we should be thinking of is ibadat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you have got silly ideas in your mind, open up the Quran and start reading it.
Excellent. That's the solution.
Okay, we've got Sheikh Zaid Makboul in the studio. Okay.
He's a sheikh for that answer. He's a definite sheikh.
Good question, Sheikh, is we get this question quite a lot, is if you are travelling, do you need to fast?
If you're travelling, you don't need to fast on the condition that you're a traveller before Fajr. On the condition that you're a traveller before Fajr. If you're let's say that you're from Oldham, so on tomorrow afternoon you decide to travel. Because you were at home as a resident at Fajr time in the morning, you cannot break your fast. So it's only if you're away on a journey, for each of those days that you're away on the journey, only then can you choose not to fast.
How long does the journey have to be, Sheikh?
Less than 15 days. Just a quick one. The definition of traveller is anybody travels from his hometown a distance of more than 57 miles for less than 15 days. Then he's a traveller.
Jazakallah. You're listening to Let's Talk. We've got Shaykh Haroon. We've got about another 10 minutes or so. So do send me your questions, your queries. What is it you're thinking about Ramzan? 07801 951 501 07801 951 501. There's a text message here from a brother named Luqman. It says here, we're all Muslims. We should leave the country and move to the Middle East. Brother Luqman, can I just say to you, you've had too many jalebis dipped in iron brew, and I think the fizzy bubbles have got to your head. Because why are you still here? There is no reason why anyone should move anywhere. Ibadat, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has this whole earth, and you can do ibadat here freely as you can do anywhere else. And if you're talking about going over to some sort of Islamic cause, the biggest cause you'll ever have is yourself, your ibadat and your iman here in the UK.
Jazakallah, Sheikh. Okay, just a quick question is, what is the ruling on those people that miss the fast without any reason?
That was asked before, wasn't it?
No, this is different. This is basically where if they got some, I think the earlier question was if they had like a medical issue. This one, if they can't be bothered.
It's the same question as before. Like somebody who doesn't bother fasting.
Oh, sorry, I've already asked that.
You've asked that a few times.
Okay, I'll go to the next one.
Sajid, have you been drinking that iron brew again?
So?
The next question, Sheikh, is this is quite popular among the ladies and some of the men as well. Is wearing lipstick allowed in fast?
You see some of them.
You
talking about yourself there?
He's on his way into Nando's with his lipstick on. What is going on, brother Sajid?
No, wearing lipstick doesn't break your fast unless like the woman, she licks her lips and the taste of that she swallows that. But just by itself, it doesn't break.
Just one of the final questions. This might take you a bit of time to answer the question, so you don't have to answer if you don't want to. You know the controversy about, you know, the sahur, the sahri, where you got 3 different times.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, there's so much confusion out there, Sheikh. In a nutshell, if you can explain why are there 3 different times and how...
And is it your sheikhs who are to blame for this one? Because when I grew up, there was one time. Now you've got 3 pick and mix going on. So what is the...
And what is the guidance for the youngsters who are listening to the show?
I'll answer the last part. The guidance for the youngsters is just follow what your mosque is, your local mosque timetable, and just get yourself out of any controversy. And then just to briefly touch upon it, because we're in a time of the year when there is no the phenomenon that's known as permanent twilight, where the Maghrib doesn't disappear until sunrise. Because of that, there's no clear beginning of Fajr time. And so due to that, the Prophet ﷺ gave advice about that in such a time. Set the times, fix the time on it. And due to that, different scholars have come up with different ways of working out how to set the time for both Isha and Fajr. So that's the reason why you have a range. Because there's no clear beginning of Fajr time. But like the people who are listening in, they should try not to get into this issue. As with any point where you have a difference between scholars, genuine, real difference, people should just respect the right for others to follow whatever they're following. So don't be knocking anybody else because they're going with a later time or they're going with an earlier time. Just stick with what your local mosque is doing, what your family's doing, and don't get into an argument.
Jazakallah. Sheikh, there's a question that's come through about the reading of the Tarawih prayer. One brother is asking, if I go to a mosque where the Imam is actually a Lamborghini Aventador, he's reading it that fast, is that okay? Or should I go for somebody who's perhaps in a little Passat, chugging along nice and easy?
The slow one, that sounds nice. I advise everybody to go to those who read properly, because those who read fast to the point where the words are all mashed up, those people are committing a haram act because they're abusing the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran should be respected. It's a month of listening to the Quran. And if you find the slower one longer, then just pray whatever you can, then go back home and just finish off your 20, and you don't need to stand there and listen to the whole Quran being recited if it's too hard for you.
Okay, sure. Just one of the final questions, then we will let you go, inshallah, which is for all our listeners, what kind of advice can you give? You know, every year we fast, we say we're going to do this, we're going to achieve this, we set these goals. What can we do? Because we've got 26, 27 days left. What can we do to get the best out of this month?
I think the best thing for people to do is set themselves targets of finishing Quran. Ramadan is the month of Quran. It's the month in which the Quran was revealed. And one of the best ways to determine how you are in the month of Ramadan is to look at how you are with the Quran. And that also helps the longer days fast. That you've got more time. Just busy yourself with the book of Allah subhanahu. Just do your khatam of Quran, and then the fast becomes so much more easier.
Jazakallah, Sheikh. I've got a bit of a funny one for you here. There's a brother in Dubai who's calling himself Tyrion Lannister. What he's saying is he's under 3 foot tall. Is he exempt from keeping the Rosie?
He's
not very tall at all.
Did you say he's under 3 foot tall?
Yeah.
Unless there's some type of
medical deformity.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I'm reluctant to answer that because the height of the person, I don't know how that affects that person's ability to fast. Yeah. My assumption would be that it wouldn't affect it, but unless there's something due to his height that causes him difficulty in fasting, then I'd assume he'd still have to fast.
Jazakallah. Sorry about that, Tyrion Lannister. You're going to have to start the Rosie. The question also comes. It says. This says here, ask the Sheikh, what are the medical benefits of fasting?
I don't know. I've not looked into it from that perspective, and it doesn't really matter to me.
So you're looking at it from an Islamic and spiritual side. Well, the medical benefits, I'm sure we can find out again. So thanks to that for the Sheikh. And have we anything else before we give Shaykh Haroon, as always, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase your knowledge. Any mistakes that we make are ourselves. They're our mistakes. They are not the mistakes within the glorious Quran or the religion of Islam. It is a shortage in our own knowledge. And we want to thank you for your time, and inshallah we will.
One last word?
Yeah, last word.
Yeah, please do.
Just a shout out to Madge from Bradford. He's a diehard United fan, and that's why I hate him. That's all. That's all I've got to say.
Jazakallah, that's how we like to end this beautiful month. Hatred from the Scousers who, Sheikh, can I ask you, you know, having
we're going to win. I don't care what you say, we're going to win.
Sheikh, you know, having the Premiership trophy in Liverpool, does that invalidate the past?
That's all I've got to say.
Jazakallah, that's how we like to end this beautiful month. Hatred from the Scousers who, Sheikh, can I ask you, you know, having
we're going to win. I don't care what you say, we're going to win.
Sheikh, you know, having the Premiership trophy in Liverpool, does that invalidate the past?
Behave yourself.
Jazakallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Until tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks.
Shaykh Haroon, brilliant. That was Shaykh Haroon from Liverpool. Absolutely awesome. Gave you some really good knowledge there. And gave you some understanding about what's going on. And just a couple of other things. Young Jeffrey's asking, is it okay for him to have buzz rocks during Ramzan? Well, he can have the buzz rocks because that's fine. But his dad, he'll be basically finished up with the end of him. And can Godu keep using his toothbrush? And Papa, yeah, they do need to use the toothbrush because it's a little bit frightening. Their dragon breath. It is like one of Daenerys' dragons. But concrete shoes for you. And just a couple of others. And it's for the guys in Dubai. So we've now got to the bottom of the fact that Mr. B, you are going to have to keep roses, even though, you know, there's a height restriction. The Sheikh said it straight away. You're not exempt from it. You're going to have to do it. And we've not heard from Jamie Lannister this year. Has he hidden underneath the bed? Or is he pretending? I just want to, before we go, read out the top 10 excuses. So, they're not in any kind of order, but the first excuse that people always come out with is, I've got a headache. So, if you have a headache, did it only happen in Ramzan? You know, I know that headaches can be really bad, and things like migraines can be really bad, but there are preventative steps. Medical conditions, well, they never happened all year, but yet we bring them to the forefront during Ramzan. Work. No employer is allowed to differentiate or criticize or not allow you to fast. It is illegal, and that person can have a significant fine. I don't know of a single person who's going to say that to you at all. They're too long. Well, they're not too long. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's law. They're not too long at all. And we're going to do it when you're old. Well, you do it when you're in Chariton Cemetery, Greenacre Cemetery, because that's when you're going to be too old. And I'm a good Muslim, and I do it all day long. Well, you don't do it all day long. You're chatting bubbles again there. And I'm training for the gym. I'm sorry. I've seen these so-called trainers for the gym. They couldn't eat two single kaberas, so you've got no excuse in there. And it's backward. Well, people who say it's backward are generally backward themselves. So you've been listening to Let's Talk. This is Radio Ramzan. We will be here about 25 past to 12 tomorrow night. And in our show, Brother Sajid, what is the show about tomorrow?
Tomorrow's show is about zakat, and we've got Shaykh Haroon in the studio again.
So that's the time that you can ask the questions. How do I calculate my zakat? Do I have to pay my zakat? What the heck? What is this zakat? Is it not the name of a takeaway in Rusholme? No, it's not. This is the Let's Talk show. My name's Zaid Makbul. I'm going to leave you in the hands of the brother Javed, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him strength. He's been helping us out on the radio station. Until tomorrow, keep us in your prayers, keep us in your du'as, but most importantly, do not let yourself down during the holy month of Ramzan. Don't even contemplate it. Assalamu alaikum.